the data on network marketing has completely changed over the last 2 years.
What I want.
If you've been watching me for a while, then you know that I've covered Tim's sales here on this channel several times already. Not only is Tim a high-ranking distributor for an MLM company called New Age, but he also runs a YouTube channel called Network Marketing Power. And for the last 2 years, he's basically dedicated his entire channel to debunking anti-MLM arguments. In my last video on Tim's sales, my friend Savvy Writes Books and I called him out for claiming that 7.5% of MLMers make $50,000 or more, despite him not having any data to back up this claim. This is a stat he's touted for quite a while now, and when we've pressed him on where he got this stat from, he simply tells us not to worry and that this data will be made publicly available very soon. Well, he's been saying that the data will be released very soon for almost a year now. Recently, I saw that he produced a video titled "How to Answer Network Marketing Objections, New Data." Obviously, I'm pretty excited about this video because maybe he's finally revealed the source of the data he's been quoting. And like I told him myself, once the data is made public, I would be sure to let my audience know. So today, I thought it would be fun if we all watched his video together and see if he finally gives us the data we've all been asking for the last year.
What's really changed over the last, say, 2.5 to 3 years? It is that I have revealed so much, and the person that could potentially being talked to and saying, like, no, I'm not interested, is because the person still does not know the facts, the truth about it. And so therefore they're not looking at current reality.
Oh boy, I have a bad feeling about this, but let's keep watching and see what he presents us with.
Let me give you an example here. A long time ago, it's a song, sorry, 2 years ago, people could say few make money. They could say that back then and get away with it. And a lot of people did. And there's still old videos telling old reality. Most fail. People at the top make all the money. Utterly proven false. Utterly false.
Here, Tim is claiming that it's utterly false that most people fail at MLM. But as far as I'm aware, he hasn't presented any data that would prove this to be false, other than his unsubstantiated 7.5% stat. So I'm not sure why he's making this claim. But let's keep watching and see if he presents us with any new information.
Let's compare it to real estate. All right. So if you were to go to, let's say, Google, and you were to say the average income of a real estate agent in 2019, then they're going to pop out and they're going to tell you a number, and it's something like $48,000 on average. But what they did is that they omitted up until this point right here. So they cut out 93% of the math, and that is the reason that no one really, that no one knew the true data. But before that test, they had to do a course, and not everybody passed that course. And so that's the 97 that didn't. Okay. All of those steps were in it. You can look on my channel and find network marketing versus real estate, and you can see my whole breakdown of this. You compare the same starting number, the 710, because that's how we got our starting math. You take the same amount, and you're going to see that 25,000 people in real estate will make that average. But in network marketing, $50,000, 53,000 people will make that amount, $50,000. And that's 2 times more people in network marketing will make $50,000 than in real estate. And so you can no longer say that most people fail unless you say, but it's twice better than real estate.
Okay, let's break this down. So Tim is implying that the failure rate of MLM is not actually that bad, because if we look at the real estate industry, only about 3.5% of realtors earn over $48,000 a year. And according to Tim, and only Tim, 7.5% of MLMers make over $50,000 a year. This is an interesting comparison, but it's obvious how Tim has skewed the math here. To arrive at the conclusion that only 3.5% of realtors make a livable wage, Tim not only included in the math those who are actively working as realtors, but also included anyone who's ever taken a real estate course. According to his own breakdown here, most people, 93%, never finish their real estate course and thus never receive their real estate license. So they've never actually been employed as realtors. So, side story, in college, I majored in air traffic management with the hopes of one day becoming an air traffic controller. I went to a pretty small school, so there were maybe 20 other students who were also studying air traffic management. While working on my degree, I also took an aircraft dispatch course, and I actually fell in love with dispatching. When I graduated, I decided that instead of becoming a controller, I wanted to work as a dispatcher, and so I applied to an airline and was hired as a dispatcher. It was actually pretty common among those who also received my same degree to go on and do different things. Some went on to be dispatchers, some went on to be pilots, some went on to be flight attendants, but there was only actually one person that comes to mind who actually went on to become a controller. Everyone has amazing jobs and are quite successful. However, if we do the math like how Tim did the math for realtors, we could conclude that only 5% of air traffic controllers make a livable wage because only 1 out of the 20 people I studied with actually became an air traffic controller. As you can see, it's ridiculous to include in the math anyone who's ever even taken a real estate course when we're trying to analyze the earnings of those who actually work in real estate as compared to those in MLM. And unlike real estate, in MLM, there are no courses or exams you must take to become a rep. Basically, all you need is a pulse. When you sign up for an MLM opportunity, you are effectively working in the MLM industry. Even if Tim hadn't skewed the math and it were actually true that only 3.5% of those in real estate make $48,000 or more, that doesn't somehow mean that it's incorrect to say that most people fail in MLM. All it would mean is that it's true that most people fail to make a livable income in MLM, and that it's also true that most people fail to make a livable income in real estate. If we conclude that X is bad, and then we later conclude that Y is also bad, that doesn't mean that X is actually not bad. It just means that X and Y are both bad.
So not only in network marketing versus real estate, but also YouTube, 145 times more people will make $50,000. I'm just going to hop through these. You can freeze if you want to. In the actors, entertainers, and musicians category, 19 times more will make $50,000, 14 times will make $100,000.
I have noticed that Tim's go-to is to compare MLM to things like YouTube and acting. I'm not completely sure why that is, but no matter the reason, these are pretty ridiculous comparisons. First off, YouTube is a social media and a video sharing platform. While there are those who make full-time income by producing videos for YouTube, YouTube isn't in itself a career path. The majority of accounts on YouTube have never even uploaded a single video. This would be the same as Tim saying that 145 times more people make $50,000 in MLM than those who make $50,000 on Facebook. Well, yeah, duh, because Facebook is just a social media platform, and the majority of people on Facebook are just users who aren't monetizing their posts. And then as far as acting goes, I'm sure that very few make it as professional actors. But the difference between acting and MLM is that no one is framing acting as an income opportunity. There's the trope of the starving actor for a reason. John M. Taylor, the man who conducted the study of the MLM industry and famously concluded that 99.6% of MLMers make no money or actually lose money, even stated that the high failure rate in and of itself isn't necessarily so bad, except for that MLM is promoted as an income opportunity, which makes it a complete misrepresentation.
All right. Next category is pyramid scheme. Now, even though this gentleman changed his video, I think it had to do with me.
Not a chance.
The gentleman Tim is referencing here is John Oliver, who 4 years ago hosted a segment on Last Week Tonight about the MLM industry. The segment now has over 29 million views on YouTube and has played an instrumental role in the modern day anti-MLM movement. I actually went and rewatched the segment to see if I noticed any changes, but I couldn't find any. So if anyone knows if it's changed at all since its original airing, please let me know.
He says, if it's shaped like a pyramid, it is a pyramid. And I said, no, that's not true at all. Because in Navy SEAL team, it's called decentralized command. And the whole basis of it is that you are never able to control more than 4 people. Okay? And control meaning stay in communication with them. Can you imagine all of these shooters down here feeding information back up to the platoon leader? It'd be utter chaos. Imagine some guy in Washington, D.C. having all SEAL platoons, all shooters feeding them information. You couldn't handle it. So they break those things down into 4. All right. 4 is typically in a wartime situation. You can sometimes stretch it out to having 6 people. But if you'll look at it, these are the squad leaders, and each of the squad leaders have 4 fire team leaders, and each fire team leader has 4 shooters. Okay. So it's obvious that that's the shape of a pyramid, and the gentleman, sorry, I went the wrong way. And the gentleman that said that is utterly a buffoon, and he should get off television until he knows what he's talking about.
No, that's not exactly what John Oliver said in that segment. It's surprising to me that Tim, who is someone who really rags on other people for supposedly omitting data, seems pretty comfortable here with omitting a large part of what John Oliver said. In the beginning of the segment, John Oliver did make a joke about how if something is shaped like a pyramid, then it probably is a pyramid, but he later clarified that what really makes MLMs eerily similar to pyramid schemes is that most people make money from selling product to other distributors rather than from selling product to outside customers. We're not calling MLMs pyramid schemes just because they're triangular shaped, because after all, most corporate hierarchies are shaped like a triangle, and using the example that Tim gave, military platoon hierarchies are triangular shaped. In both corporate hierarchies and platoon hierarchies, though, each level fulfills a different job and is guaranteed a specific salary for completing that job. In a platoon, a shooter doesn't make their money by recruiting another shooter and then selling them a rifle. We're calling MLMs pyramid schemes because they have the defining features of a pyramid scheme, in that the enterprise is only sustained by the constant recruitment of additional reps. It's not just the shape that matters. It's about how the structure itself is sustained and how money flows within that structure. What Tim is doing here is straw manning. Straw manning is intentionally misrepresenting your opponent's argument because it's easier to defeat than your opponent's real argument. Tim claims that John Oliver's argument was that MLMs are like pyramid schemes because they're shaped like a triangle, when that's not at all the argument that John actually presented. If you'd like to watch the John Oliver segment for yourself, I'll definitely have it linked down in the description. Unlike Tim, I like to back up my claims with actual sources.
Let me know what you think. All right. So those of you who have followed me for a while, have you recognized that things really have changed? Because I remember when I first started, like back in 1989, and I would get these things that people would say, I didn't know how to handle them in then, right? And but utterly, because I did all of the research, hired the data scientists and all these people in order to crunch all these numbers and all of that stuff, comparing the different industries. People can't say that stuff anymore. And so a lot of times your prospect, when you're talking to, they still have that old idea. And so you need to educate them.
Well, my suspicions have been confirmed. Even though Tim claimed in the title of his video that he had new data to present, nothing new has actually been presented. It seems he's a lot more interested in engaging in whataboutism rather than presenting his audience with compelling evidence for the legitimacy of MLM. It's honestly mind-boggling to me that he's spent the last 3 years trying to debunk anti-MLM arguments when all that's needed to effectively debunk these arguments would be data showing that a significant amount of those who join MLM are able to turn a profit through selling product to outside customers. That's it. So until I'm presented with this data, I'm going to keep questioning business models like MLM that I have very good reason to think are entirely deceptive and cause harm to the majority of those involved. Thanks so much for watching, and a huge thank you to my patrons who help to make these videos possible. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, follow me on Twitter at the Antibot, follow me on Instagram at TaylorLee_1993, consider pledging to my Patreon, and I'll see you all on the next one. Say bye!